this is on the surface that appears to be Ford news, but on the deeper you get into this, the more you realize it's really automotive in general. It's where the manufacturers' heads are and what their mindset is. Now, when I read this, the first couple days that I've had a lot of time to process this. Mm-hmm. There are pros and cons to this. What we're talking about, everybody, is that there was a recent press release that Jim Farley, who's the CEO of Ford, gave over the Ford E-Transit van. And the question was presented to him, do you think that Ford will have a subscription model where they charge for things like heated seats?
Right.
Now, this is something that BMW has been toying with for a while. They've made the press cycles because of it recently. Their comments around it were basically you pay for it when you need it, right?
Right.
We have a Lexus. It's a 2017, and to be able to start the car remotely, we have to pay, I think it's $15 or $16 a month. And, my wife loves it because in the wintertime you can warm the car up and all that.
Right.
But come on, man. I mean, really, I got to pay you a subscription service for the remote start feature to be unlocked?
Yeah. It's crazy. Those things should be features that come with the vehicle, period. This is what I pay for.
Yeah. Now Farley said, and I think this is the right response, he said it would surprise me if we charged for heated seats. And Ford being kind of a blue collar, unless it's the Ford GT, right? Unless you're going into some of the high-end stuff, that's just not their model. And if they step into that, I think it's a dangerous place for them to go. Which is exactly why, Jay, when you and I were talking about this months back and Rivian released their fourth quarter earnings report, and they talked about their future plans with their investors, with their shareholders, and they said, we anticipate that we're going to be able to generate, and I don't remember the amount, but it was a ton of revenue.
Yeah.
Over the next decade in recurring subscription services.
It was substantial. It was substantial when they were filing for the IPO. And they were explaining that was where they expected that revenue to come from. And by the way, guys, you can watch that video over on youtube.com/Parts Kind of Guru. We actually talk about that Rivian subscription stuff. So check that out.
Now, on the one hand, I think you said, hey, I pay for a car. I want my car. Stop trying to charge me for a car that I already own.
Give me the list of things that I can add onto it, and let's move on.
And I tend to agree with that. The more I thought about this, I thought, okay, but does this help us with the whole planned obsolescence situation? Could they be basically making these things to stay on the road longer if there was some sort of promise of additional revenue after the sale for those manufacturers? Because you don't have to build another Bronco. You sell this one, and then you continue to go back to that well of that customer and remonetize, right? Mm-hmm. An existing product. And this is what Apple's been doing since Steve Jobs died. They just keep going back to the well of recurring revenue. Apple Card. Wow, I had a little wascally wabbit moment. Yeah. The well of recurring revenue. Sorry, everybody. So, yeah, the Apple Card, the music subscription, the iCloud subscription, Apple TV. I mean, it's
Apple
all
TV
subscription-based now, right? Yeah.
Everything. Paramount Plus. It's all crazy.
Could this be... even though none of us would be thrilled about that monthly charge...
Well, I would not be thrilled with it. But what worries me is that they're going to take the same approach... Because it's business to consumer product. It's a consumer product, and products are designed to not last forever. I mean, if they last forever, then you never get anybody coming back for a new one. And so my fear is that after a vehicle that they have produced at up to a certain point, they just say, hey, we're not supporting the software on this vehicle anymore, and then you're just kind of left on your own. Kind of like what's going on with what happened to basically me over the last 2 years, where I've said to you guys on this podcast that I own everything Apple. I'm a MacBook Pro guy. I have an iMac and I have an iPhone, iPads. We're there. We got the Apple TV box.
Apple 2GS, PowerBook 145B.
Right. We are in the Apple ecosystem. That's what we are. This is what we do. We like it.
Macintosh Plus.
Yeah. But
that's the one that was in Jerry Seinfeld's apartment.
Yes,
Just
it was. It was. So, for me, I fear what I just had to go through, which is planned obsolescence. And basically, I was stuck with a perfectly operating iMac from 2009. There's nothing wrong with it. It's just Apple doesn't support it anymore. In other words, none of the apps are supported, so I can't use it, can't update them. They don't work.
Yeah, they intentionally design new software features.
Right.
And those things have such a heavy demand requirement that it won't work on the slower, older stuff.
Correct. And I think that technology is kind of it's good and it's bad because they want to move you into the new generation of things because it's much more efficient. It's easier on the manufacturer in supporting that. It makes complete sense, but I only fear that automakers are going to take the same approach that our PC builders, Bill Gates and
Michael Dell,
all these guys, these manufacturers of home computers and any electronics, that just basically after 5-6 years it's obsolesced, it's done. We're not going to push you an update anymore, so you're on your own if you want to drive that.
And on the Android side, the cell phone market, Google, if you own a Google, like their life cycle's 2 to 3 years, and they just stop releasing security updates for it after that. Like that's it.
Right.
Even a bug patch.
Here's the other thing that I fear too is that the EPA could get involved with this to where if they don't support that update anymore, say Ford doesn't push over-the-air updates to these things anymore, which keeps them EPA compliant or emissions compliant within whatever region zone that you're in, and you have emissions tests that you take where they just plug it in. Now it's plug it into the OBD and test it.
Right.
If you're not getting the update that gives you the latest version and or what the EPA requires, they could shut you down. You may not even be able to get a license for it anymore. I mean, this is my brain thinking of, I don't mind technology, but it's also, and these subscriptions and stuff, it bothers me to the extent of where the personalization of owning a vehicle is going away. It's no longer an extension of you. Like you used to always say that the guy driving the Corvette is, you see an image of this guy in this like paisley shirt with a button down and hairy chest and a big gold chain.
Oh no, you got
sunglasses.
4 or 5 chains. Like it can't be just one. You got to go Mr. T style with the
Right. I mean, you're not going to have any more of the guys around. Like we've got a guy locally here. He goes by the handle of the Corvette Man. I mean, it's an extension of who he is, what he does, and he drives Corvettes and he builds them, and it's cool. So these are the things that I fear for these types of subscription systems, subscriptions. These luxuries that you might want. Just buy the damn car.
Yeah, it is kind of a dangerous, the whole slippery slope argument. I agree. It's kind of I don't know that we want to go down that path.
I don't want to. I mean, certain things, I would. Like if it's infotainment stuff, but a heated seat or longer range. Give me the longer. If it's an update to a vehicle that's going to give you longer range. That should be good for me because you own a vehicle. That should be customer loyalty type updates, in my opinion.
Right.
Anyway, that's just me.